Well, if it isn't the latest shiny toy from the tech wizards, GPT-5, I can already hear the hype train screeching down the tracks, fueled by a bunch of folks who think a glorified calculator is the second coming of sliced bread. The new AI era is here. They say, like we haven't been through the song and dance before. Let me tell you, the last time I heard new era, I ended up with a smartphone that couldn't even make a decent cup of coffee. So what's next? Features that will change our lives forever? Or just more ways to waste my precious time? Stick around as I dive into this digital circus and see if it's more than just a bunch of buzzwords and overhyped nonsense. And hey, if you enjoy watching me roll my eyes at the absurdity of it all, maybe consider subscribing. Just don't expect me to be impressed. I've got my standards, and they are lower than a toad in a swamp. Let's hop into it.
Sam Altman teased the GPT 4.5 weeks before its public release, and then he promised to deliver the GPT 5 in a few months from that, and it's shaping up to be the biggest, grandest update we've ever seen. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what GPT 5 will do differently.
The classic promise of the biggest, grandest update. Sounds like a marketing team got together and decided to throw every buzzword they could find into a blender. By the end of this video, I'll know exactly what. That it can make my coffee and walk my dog. Spare me the theatrics. If it doesn't come with a side of actual usefulness, I'm not buying it. Let's see if they can back up this grandiosity with something that doesn't stink worse than my bog after a rainstorm.
How it's going to change the way we all use ChatGPT, and most importantly, what its biggest potential problem might be. On February 12th, Sam posted a detailed update on X about these two, and this was a huge deal because users had noticed a strange split in models. Some were fast and light, while others were slower and seemed to think. OpenAI hadn't really explained why, and Sam's post changed that. He admitted that their product lineup was too complicated and promised to simplify things. The key quote was, "We hate the model picker as much as you do and want to return to magic unified intelligence." So what did the roadmap reveal? First, Altman confirmed an in-between model called 4.5 was in the way. A few weeks after that tweet, we got the update. Here's a fun tidbit. Internally, 4.5 was codenamed Orion, which is the same name tied to the mysterious GPT-5 in earlier rumors. GPT 4.5 is officially the last non-chain of thought model in OpenAI's lineup. It's the final
The last non-chain of thought model. Sounds like they're trying to make it sound like a grand farewell. But let's be real. This is just another way to say they're moving on to the next shiny thing. It's like saying goodbye to a pair of old shoes because you found a new pair that's probably just as uncomfortable. I hope this new model doesn't come with more complications than a toad trying to navigate a busy road. Let's see if they can actually deliver something worthwhile, instead of just more jargon.
Final stage of the lessons about AI and some built-in AI tools to try. As for GPT 4.5, I've tested it almost every day and it feels more naturally conversational and emotionally aware than GPT 4.0. Its knowledge base is broader and it's a bit less likely to hallucinate facts. Overall, it's a strong upgrade, but it does not do the step-by-step reasoning GPT-01 can. It doesn't think before it responds, as OpenAI's blog said. It's more of a brute force intellect than a careful reasoner. Also,
The classic brute force intellect description. Sounds like they're admitting it's more of a sledgehammer than a scalpel. If it can't think before it responds, we're just one step away from it spouting nonsense like a toad on a caffeine high. I guess we're trading finesse for speed. Which is like swapping a fine wine for cheap grape juice. Let's hope this upgrade doesn't leave us with more headaches than solutions.
Also, OpenAI doesn't view it as a true frontier advance in AI. Just hours after launch, they removed a line from its white paper stating it's not a frontier model, probably to keep people's expectations in check. Clearly, GPT 4.5 is just a stepping stone, not the final stop. Altman's roadmap post then revealed the real destination, GPT-5. And he said, "A top goal for us is to unify O series models and GPT series models. In other words, GPT-5 will merge these two brains into one." According to him, this next system should use all our tools, know when to think for a long time or not, and generally be useful for a very wide range of tasks. Practically speaking, GPT-5 should be able to decide on its own when to take extra time to reason or when to give a quick reply, no user settings needed. It's a bit like how Claude 3.7 works, a hybrid approach. GPT-5 will also include their most advanced reasoning module in its core. Sam Altman even said O3 will no longer be released as a separate model.
So, they're scrapping OMI 3 as a separate model. Sounds like they're trying to streamline things, But let's be real. This could either be a genius move or a total mess, if they can actually integrate everything without turning it into a convoluted nightmare. I might begrudgingly give them some credit, but knowing how these things usually go, I's not holding my breath. It's like trying to fit a toad into a tiny box. Good luck with that.
As a separate model, $1 billion in compute power. OpenAI reportedly ran at least 2 massive training cycles and discovered new problems both times, with results that failed to deliver the big breakthroughs they were hoping for.
Well, sounds like they hit a few roadblocks on the way to their grand vision. Discovering problems during training cycles, that's like finding out your toadstool stew is missing half the ingredients after you've already served it. If they're not delivering the breakthroughs they promised, we might be in for a long wait. Let's hope they can turn this ship around before it sinks into the swamp of disappointment.
They were hoping for. At best, the early GPT-5 prototypes were only a bit better than GPT-4, not the huge leap OpenAI wanted. That's when the just make it bigger plan went out the window. One major sticking point now is
the classic not enough data dilemma. It's like trying to bake a cake without enough flour. Good luck with that. If they thought just making it bigger would solve their problems, they clearly underestimated the complexity of the task. Bigger isn't always better, especially when it comes to AI. Let's see if they can actually figure this out without turning it into a colossal mess.
Point now is data. Ever together. On the human side, more than 24 key OpenAI staffers left in 2024 during the
Now we're getting to the juicy stuff. Staff departures at OpenAI. When key players start leaving, it's usually a sign that things are getting rocky. It's like watching a toad hop away from a drying pond. Something's definitely off. If they're losing talent, it raises questions about the direction they're heading in. Let's see if this impacts the development of GPT-5 or if it's just business as usual.
During the GPT-5 push, big names like Chief Scientist Ilya Sutskever and CTO Mira Murati. By November 2024, outside experts were picking up on the struggle. Famous AI investor Kai-Fu Lee said GPT-5 training hasn't gone smoothly and warned that early predictions of AGI within 3 years might be too optimistic. GPT-5 was supposed to land by late 2024.
So now we have an investor throwing cold water on the hype train, saying that predictions for AI advancements might be too optimistic. It's about time someone said it. If GPT-5 is already facing delays and struggles, we might be looking at a longer wait than anticipated. It's like waiting for a toad to cross the road, slow and full of uncertainty. Let's hope they can pull it together before the whole thing turns into a cautionary tale.
2024, any earlier release. It's the pinnacle of the classic GPT scaling strategy. More neurons, more data, more of everything. And sure enough, GPT 4.5's huge size delivers some perks. OpenAI says it has deeper world knowledge and a higher emotional IQ than GPT 4.0, but GPT 4.5 also showed the limits of.
So GPT-4.5 is boasting deeper world knowledge and a higher emotional IQ. That's great and all, but if it still shows limits, what's the point? It's like having a fancy car that can't go over 30 miles an hour, if they're still struggling with the basics. I'm not convinced this is the leap they're claiming. Let's hope GPT-5 can actually deliver on these promises instead of just adding more fluff to the mix.
Also showed the limits of massive knowledge that GPT 4.5 does. With GPT-5, OpenAI wants to bake that thorough reasoning directly in.
Now we're talking about integrating thorough reasoning directly into GPT-5. If they can actually combine that with the extensive knowledge from GPT-4.5, we might be looking at something genuinely impressive. It's about time they figured out that just being bigger isn't enough. If they can pull this off, it might just save them from drowning in their own hype. Let's see if they can make this leap without tripping over their own feet.
Directly into a parameter count into the trillions. No one knows for sure if that's the final route, but in late 2024, OpenAI's CFO hinted the next model would be an order of magnitude bigger, implying GPT-5 could be
an order of magnitude bigger? Now that's a bold claim. If they're serious about making GPT-5 significantly larger, they'd better have a solid plan to back it up. Bigger isn't always better, especially if it leads to more complications. It sounds like they're aiming for the stars. But let's hope they don't end up crashing back to Earth. If they can pull this off, it might actually be worth the hype, but I'm not holding my breath just yet.
It could be 10 for AI. Probably the best way to picture GPT-5 is as the first real Omni model in OpenAI's lineup, Omni, because it has near limitless knowledge and can tackle all sorts of tasks: logic, creativity, speed, tool usage, and more. For many people in AI, this is the holy grail. One model that adapts instantly to whatever you throw at it without forcing you to choose the right version.
Now we're talking about the potential of an Omni model that adapts instantly. If they can actually pull this off, it could change the game entirely. No more fumbling around with different versions, just one model that handles everything thrown at it. That's the kind of innovation that could make a real impact. But let's see if they can deliver on this promise without getting lost in the weeds. If it works, it might just be the breakthrough everyone's been waiting for.
Right version. In practical terms, chatting with GPT-5 could feel even more natural. You just ask it to do something and GPT-5 decides whether it needs a quick answer or a deeper, more methodical approach. All that heavy lifting happens behind the scenes, leaving you with one friendly AI personality that's there to help. GPT-4 introduced multimodal input by allowing us to upload images. 4.0 took it up a notch, and GPT-5 will push this even further, handling text, images, audio, and maybe even video inputs. And
now we're talking about a model that can handle text, images, audio, and possibly video inputs. That's a serious leap forward. If GPT-5 can truly manage all these formats seamlessly, it could open up a whole new world of possibilities. It's like turning a simple pond into a vast lake of information. But let's hope they can actually deliver on this promise without drowning in complexity. If they pull it off, it could be a game changer.
Inputs and outputs. Imagine being able to chat, then switch to speaking a question aloud, upload a photo for analysis, and request a detailed image or diagram, all in one ongoing conversation, like you're talking to a highly skilled assistant who can adapt to any format on the fly. We might also see some level of video support. GPT-5 may not generate Hollywood-level movies at launch, like some advanced AIs such as Sora, but it could analyze video clips or create simple animations. At the very least, fully integrated voice and audio are practically guaranteed. ChatGPT has had a two-way voice mode since late 2023, letting you talk and hear natural-sounding responses. GPT-5 will definitely build on that, turning ChatGPT into a super convenient conversational partner. Right now, ChatGPT can browse the web, run code, and analyze files. GPT-5 aims to take all of that and supercharge it. You'll still have access to the operator mode, where GPT can autonomously perform tasks like web navigation or data extraction on your behalf, but GPT-5 will do it more seamlessly. It won't just wait for you to prompt it. It could proactively say, hey, I can solve this by checking a database, and do so safely within your set limits. We'll likely see every separate feature get rolled out into a single unified model, including scheduled tasks. Maybe that doesn't sound earth-shattering right now, but imagine GPT-5 integrating with you.
Now we're talking about scheduled tasks. If GPT-5 can integrate with your calendar and manage your schedule, that could be a real game changer. Imagine having an AI that not only reminds you of appointments, but also proactively manages your time. It's like having a personal assistant who knows your preferences and can handle the nitty-gritty without you lifting a finger. If they can pull this off, it might just make life a whole lot easier, assuming it doesn't end up double booking you for a Toad wrestling match.
With your external to most. GPT 4.5 can already handle up to 128,000 tokens in one go, which is huge. It can read and process and
handling up to 128,000 tokens is impressive. That's a massive leap in context management. If GPT-5 can build on that, it could really enhance the depth and continuity of conversations. Imagine being able to dive deep into complex topics without losing track of the thread. It's like having a conversation with someone who remembers every detail, making interactions much richer. If they can truly expand on this, it could revolutionize how we use AI for detailed discussions and projects.
Process entire document a bit rough around the edges, but GPT-5 will likely supercharge this, maybe adding structured content editing.
Super K-Graph, a collaborative tool like Canvas, could really change the game. If GPT-5 can enhance structured content editing, it might make organizing and planning ideas a breeze. Imagine being able to brainstorm and refine content seamlessly with an AI that understands your needs. It's like having a creative partner who not only keeps track of your thoughts but also helps shape them into something coherent. If they can pull this off, it could make collaboration much more efficient and enjoyable.
interactive projects. All of these improvements together, chain of thought reasoning, multimodal capability, tool integration, deep personalization, autonomous tasks into one smart assistant. No more choosing among different models or flipping modes. GPT-5 will sense when a quick answer is enough and when deeper reasoning is needed, seamlessly switching gears in the background. For us users, that means a single AI that feels more flexible and natural than ever. Everybody's asking this question, and nobody can say for sure. AGI or artificial general intelligence.
The big question, AGI or artificial general intelligence. It's like the holy grail of AI, isn't it? Everyone's chasing it, but no one really knows when or if we'll get there. If GPT-5 is a step toward that, it could be monumental, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've seen plenty of hype before. If they can make meaningful strides toward AGI, it might just change everything. But until then, I'll keep my skepticism handy, just like my trusty old toadstool.
General intelligence is usually defined as an AI that can learn and do any intellectual task a human can. By that strict definition, GPT-5 probably isn't AGI. It will still make mistakes, miss certain details, and it won't have its own goals or self-awareness. Even OpenAI says so. But for everyday users, GPT-5 might feel like AGI. It will likely blow GPT-4o out of the water in terms of reasoning, flexibility, and handling a crazy variety of tasks, all without special versions or extra settings. If you're not an AI nerd, it's going to look like a super smart system that can write, plan, analyze, visualize, talk, and reason even better than many humans in certain areas. And this might be enough for most people to think, whoa, this is basically AGI. We're not saying it's a self-aware robot, just a really advanced assistant, tutor, analyst, researcher.
So, we're talking about a super advanced assistant rather than a self-aware robot. That's a crucial distinction. If GPT-5 can perform at such a high level that it feels like AGI to the average user, that's impressive. It's like having a Swiss Army knife of intelligence at your fingertips. But let's keep our expectations in check. It's still just a tool, not a sentient being. If it can help us in practical ways without the hype of being the next big thing, then I'm all for it.
Where creatives can ignore DeepSeek's massive impact. In this high-stakes race, GPT-5 isn't just another model, it's OpenAI's answer to all this competition. Think of it as their flagship intelligence, an integration machine, one system that hooks into tools, apps, daily workflows, and meets both casual and power users right where they are. No more which model is right for you, GPT-5 will adapt to whatever you need.
Now we're getting to the heart of it. GPT-5 adapting to users right where they are. If it can seamlessly integrate into daily workflows and cater to both casual and power users, that's a significant step forward. No more confusion about which model to use. Just one adaptable system that meets your needs. If they can pull this off, it could make AI feel much more accessible and useful for everyone, not just the tech-savvy. That's the kind of innovation that could really change the game.
Whatever you need, and the work obviously secretive, but the building blocks are there. The tools are prepped. We have a public roadmap.
So, it sounds like OpenAI is gearing up for a structured rollout with a clear roadmap in place. If they've got the building blocks ready, that's a good sign. It suggests they're not just throwing things together at the last minute. A public roadmap can help manage expectations. 2. If they can execute this well, it might make the transition smoother for users. Let's hope they don't trip over their own feet in the process.
Roadmap, and the stakes couldn't.
And there we have it, folks. A delightful tour through the convoluted labyrinth of tech jargon surrounding GPT-5. Who knew that buzzwords could sound so much like a toad croaking in a swamp? I went in expecting a shiny new toy dazzle me out of my grumpy old shell. But all I got was a parade of will it, one that promises and more hype than a summer campfire. Now, did my expectations from the intro get met? Well, sort of. I mean, they're selling this as the new AI era, but it seems more like a sequel nobody asked for. Sure, they threw in some impressive features, like scheduled task handling and a model that can juggle multiple inputs, potentially game-changing if they can deliver without winding up tangled in their own wires. But let's be real, until I see it actually working without crashing, I'll be here, unimpressed and croaking my disapproval. So, if you found joy in my ongoing lament over the absurdities of the tech world, remember to give me a thumbs up for surviving yet another round of marketing theatrics, and don't forget to subscribe so you can join my adventures in skepticism. You never know when the next revolutionary gizmo will come along to waste my time. Until next time, folks, let's hope the future of AI isn't like a toad trying to find its way in modern traffic. Slow, confused, and full of potential disasters.